There's something satisfying about watching a horror film that's so bad it's good. If you're in the mood for gratuitous gore, cheesy dialogue, and hours of jump scares, these horror films are the perfect way to indulge in a guilty pleasure. The premise of the first Final Destination movie was actually pretty clever. A group of friends dodge a freak accident and they start feeling grateful that they just evaded their demise, only to die one by one as death comes to claim its prize. And if you've ever seen a Final Destination film, you've probably picked up at least one irrational phobia about perishing in a statistically improbable way. There are a grand total of 5 films in the franchise with similar plots, and as far as guilty pleasures go, they don't get any guiltier than the 4th installment, The Final Destination. After Nick O'Bannon and his friends narrowly cheat death by escaping from a stadium just before disaster strikes, they soon find that their fate is already sealed. And back in 2009, with deadly objects flying at theater audiences in 3D, the eye-popping visuals took this film over the top when it came to gore. So the next time you decide to give The Final Destination a go, you'll be simultaneously fascinated and disgusted by the increasingly absurd ways in which the film sends these characters to their doom. Right off the bat, the gimmicky title of 13 Ghosts tips you off about the kind of film you're about to watch. Cyrus, a ghost hunter on a quest to capture a spirit known as the Juggernaut, is killed when his team finally manages to catch the ghost. His assistant, Dennis, manages to make it out alive. And when Cyrus's nephew, Arthur, learns that he's inherited Cyrus's mansion, Dennis offers to show him around. But there's a catch. Arthur has also inherited all of the ghosts that come with it. They were held captive by spells that Cyrus had cast, but Cyrus's lawyer accidentally seals the house shut and releases all the ghosts, kicking off a wild paranormal battle.
It's time to leave.
I'll take your word for it.
When it comes to visual and sound effects, this film goes all out. It's a loud, flashy, immersive experience, and while it might be too intense for some viewers, there's something admirable about it. This film is light on actual scares, but you'll find yourself sticking around just to find out the significance of the mysterious 13th ghost. Have you ever gotten lost in a sketchy area while on your way to an unfamiliar destination? If you've got a poor sense of direction, you'll probably find yourself sympathizing with the characters in Wrong Turn. After Chris takes an ill-fated, unintentional detour away from his intended route, he ends up crashing right into an SUV whose passengers had their road trip ruined when their tires blew out. Everyone escapes the accident mostly unscathed, but now they've got to figure out where they are and how they're going to get back to civilization. As it turns out, they may have wandered into a deadly trap that they can't escape. Wrong Turn isn't exactly a sophisticated horror film, and this becomes obvious as soon as the audience is introduced to the cannibalistic hillbilly villains who feast on unsuspecting road trippers. It's a senseless slasher gore fest, but the premise is frightening and suspenseful enough that you won't want to chance a long drive without your trusty GPS app. When it comes to guilty pleasure B-movies, Anaconda hits all the right notes. It's a 90s horror film about a documentary crew getting roped into the hunt for a legendary giant snake, starring Jennifer Lopez, Ice Cube, and Owen Wilson. When this group of filmmakers arrives in the Amazon, they have every intention of making a movie about an elusive indigenous tribe, but then a snake hunter forces them to join him on his own mission, capturing a massive anaconda that he's been trying to track down. If you like monster movies and you're looking for some corny cinematic fun, no film fits the bill quite like Anaconda. This is a movie that knows just how silly it is. In one scene, the snake actually screams. Based on the 1953 film House of Wax, this 2005 reboot follows a group of teenagers who are lured into a strange wax museum at a town in the middle of nowhere. But these aren't your ordinary wax figures, as the creepy twins who run the wax museum have a rather unorthodox method for creating their displays. The crew soon discovers that the wax figures look so realistic because they're molded around the bodies of other victims who ended up trapped there. And now, it looks like they're about to be next. As far as guilty pleasure films go, this movie checks all the boxes. It's got characters that can't help but make the worst possible decision at any given moment, a genuinely creepy setting, and a Razzie nomination for Worst Picture.
That's about right.
This loose remake of the 1980 horror film Prom Night fails to live up to its predecessor, which, to be fair, wasn't meant to be more than a mildly entertaining slasher flick in the first place. Brittany Snow stars as Donna, the popular teen queen with a dark past. Her entire family was murdered by her stalker, a teacher who became so obsessed with her that he was willing to kill anyone who stood in the way. But now, he's escaped from prison just in time for Donna's prom night. And after all these years, he hasn't forgotten about her.
So tell me, what color is your dress?
Prom Night is so melodramatic that it often slips into unintentional comedy, and Donna's stalker somehow manages to be everywhere at once. This isn't a film that demands critical thought or serious analysis from its audience. The 1993 horror comedy Leprechaun is one of the most bizarre slasher films of all time, and it follows the exploits of an evil leprechaun who goes after the man that stole his pot of gold. While the antagonist is entertaining enough, very little makes sense about the plot, which involves the leprechaun setting bear traps, chasing people down in a go-kart, and sneaking into a nursing home. To be fair, the crew behind Leprechaun wasn't exactly shooting for an Academy Award. What more could you expect from a film that was reportedly inspired by Lucky Charms commercials?
What the hell are you? I'm a leprechaun, me dear.
Shockingly, this film ended up spawning 5 sequels. So you can easily embark on a guilty pleasure leprechaun marathon. Piranha 3D kicks off during spring break at Lake Victoria, where tourists are sunbathing and partying. After an earthquake, countless prehistoric piranhas emerge from a crevice at the bottom of the lake. When a man's mutilated body is found in the water, the local authorities decide to keep the area open for beachgoers to avoid scaring off tourists. But when the piranhas start a full-blown feeding frenzy, the scene at this carefree summer camp quickly turns into a bloodbath. You'll have fun spotting a few familiar faces in the midst of the chaos, including actors like Adam Scott, Richard Dreyfuss, and Christopher Lloyd, who are clearly having a lot of fun hamming it up.
This particular piranha vanished off the face of the earth more than 2 million years ago.
This reimagining of the 1982 film This House on Sorority Row explores what happens when a prank goes dead wrong. A group of sorority sisters help one of their friends pull a prank on her boyfriend, and they accidentally end up killing her in the process. After hiding her body, everyone involved agrees that they will never say a word about it to anyone. But as graduation day approaches, they find out that someone is onto them, and now they're all in trouble. The characters in Sorority Row are so unapologetically insufferable that you won't exactly pity them as they're picked off one by one. All of the worst cliches and stereotypes about Greek life are on full display here, but it's mindless slasher fun, and it's easy to get caught up in the silly plot for an hour and a half. Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more Looper videos about horror movies are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.